Samsung 980 Pro. This is a Gen 4 drive that's supposed to be doing amazing things. I thought it was going to be the one, but it's not. Let's talk about it. Welcome back to another video. My name is Nikos, and today we're going down the rabbit hole even further, and I'm going to give you my thoughts on the 980 Pro by Samsung because the idea here is that I don't want you guys to experience what I have experienced. And the idea is very simple. If you watch the other videos, I'll link all the videos below on this rabbit hole journey to cut things short because you'll hear it again. But I had the Sabrent. I picked it up thinking it's awesome, and it turned out it wasn't awesome because there was a writing issue. Once the drive was used for quite a bit, I never checked the reviews like a superstar, thinking I'll just check the YouTubers who said that it was amazing and they thought it was amazing and blah, 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 blah. And then the issue arose for me, and after dealing with the folks over at Sabrent who weren't really as caring as I thought were going to be, and they didn't really take care of business the way I thought they would. Well, basically I went and bought a couple drives, namely the Samsung 980 and the Western Digital SN850 to see which one is going to be the drive for me on my new rig. Now, the idea here is that I had discovered this problem with the Sabrent only because the 960 Pro from Samsung that I had died. And conveniently, it was like, you know, like, I don't know what it was. Big guy upstairs was, you know, looking down on me. And I ended up, through the warranty process, and we talked with Canada Computers, and I ended up picking up, it was on sale, the SN850, and 2 terabytes, so I threw it in, and that's how I discovered everything. So all my testing now has been based on that drive, and I've been able to test all 3 drives conveniently because of that situation. And quite frankly, I wasn't even going to get that drive, but Samsung doesn't have their 2 terabyte yet, so that's why I didn't have it in my hands. So that being said, it might be released by the time this comes out. However, I am not sure, and I'm in Canada, so we get stuff a little bit later than everybody else. The idea here, very simple now, is that caching issue. That caching issue I discovered on this drive as well. Now, was it as bad as a Sabrent? No, but did I use this drive as much as a Sabrent? No. So that's one thing that we need to think about. What did happen with this drive right off the bat when I installed it, I saw it as I started to transfer onto it, I saw it like peak in heat. But then when I went to clone it, oh my goodness, this went up to like 95, up to 99, and I was like, this thing's gonna burn. And then it just throttled for a bit, and I took it out, I formatted, and then I didn't see that issue again. That being said, I installed the Samsung software after, the Magician, so I'm not sure what occurred at the beginning. I didn't see that happen again with this drive. I've seen people online talk about it. I didn't expect it. Good thing I was looking at the temperatures. At the same time, I am, you know, like I ended up then using, putting this in the heatsink, making sure the temperatures are good. I didn't have an issue. Where does the 2 drives compare? They both run at the same speed. Everything is good about both drives, both read and write. This one has more steady speeds, I think, in my opinion, from all the testing. That's what I saw. It was steady on the read, it was steady on the write, and then the caching issue popped up. Now, what occurs with the caching issue, and I'm going to show you all the stats, but in a quick walkthrough here, the idea is that most people will say this drive and every drive in its class, you shouldn't fill them up past 75%. If you fill them up past 75%, a caching issue will happen, and then you might have to format it, or maybe it will recycle eventually. With the 980 Pro versus the Sabrent within a couple hundred gigs of transfer, all of a sudden, boom, it kind of like died out on the write speed. And I thought it was because I had filled it too much. But then when I formatted it again, I got the speeds back, everything was good, I did the tests, and yeah, within a couple hundred gigs. This one will actually go the distance before you see that happen. So we're talking around 600 to 800 gigabytes where I noticed that occur where the speed wouldn't come back. The Sabrent, I had to format no matter what. Now online, people are saying I don't need to format this, I just wait. How long? Now, some people say 6 hours. Some people said a couple days. I left it for a couple days. just out of curiosity. But for me, that's a worthless drive. If I have to wait a couple days to get my caching cleared up so that the drive can run at its speed again, come on, let's be serious here. That being said, you can look at the stats for yourself and really see how this drive is operating between the 3 drives as it's writing and reading from Western Digital SN850. When we're looking at the size of the folders, you will see common to the other videos, it's the same folders, 45 and 90 gigabyte folders for the 4K shoots. Those are all videos. There are 85.3 gigabytes worth of B-roll clips, all 20 seconds, 4K as well. There is a no 4K and a with 4K folder with videos and photos. There's 168 gigabytes. The other one is 122 gigabytes. And of course, there are random files, 46 gigabytes worth. Now, there's about 5,700 files in there. So it's just representing how fast I am moving with the workflow that I have. And with that, you can see that there are a lot of tests that have been done. Now, the idea here with the top and bottom that you will see in the files, and I mean, I did 2 sets, and I had to compare everything. It was a lot of work because I realized that the motherboard from ASUS, the issue with the actual M.2 slots, when the top one goes to the chip versus the bottom one going to the chipset, the top one will run a little bit faster than the bottom one. So I wanted to make sure that I'm doing everything accurately. I did even make sure that I am going through each and copy each transfer so I can see if there's any types of dips in the actual transfer, and that might be an issue, just in case it wasn't due to. And what we see with the stats, what you'll notice is like all these drives, they do a pretty good job, and it is negligible when you look at some of these speeds, especially when we're looking at it from a perspective of writing to the 980 Pro and in both aspects of it. But you will notice that this drive, the SN850 drive is doing a well job. Now, you might say it's because it's 2 terabytes. That being said, we are comparing the other ones to 1 terabyte. And in this case, we do see that they are performing pretty much close there, but we do see the difference happen as things get a little bit bigger. And of course, as things start to change up with the size of the files there. These are all 20-second clips versus these ones being all bigger files. Now, the random, it stood up nicely. It did do great, and there was this big inconsistency here. I ran this test a couple times, and I found this every time writing to the Pro. I'm not sure why. And I shouldn't say every time, but most of the time. Like, I saw that inconsistency. When we flip the drives over and change the slots, we still see this idea of this writing. And I gotta tell you, the fact that we see this big difference is concerning. That being said, an inconsistency here occurred. I saw this a couple times. I took the average of it, but you can see the difference here. And we can see that now it's getting away from that negligible. It is. And this is quite concerning. Now, when I compare it to all the other drives, we're looking at it from a perspective of, in this case, writing to the SN850, and we can see that the Samsung is competing. And in the bigger folders, it's doing quite well. So this is writing to the 2 terabyte, which means this is reading, and it's doing a good job reading. When we flip it around and we're writing to it, of course, this inconsistency comes up again, but we're seeing that it's competing and it's doing a good job, but not necessarily the best. It's consistent though, not the best. It's in the middle of the pack if you ask me. And when we get to the bigger files, it is doing a lot better with this inconsistency there. And I'm not sure if it's because it got over a certain amount here. I did notice when I did another run with a different folder that after around 140 gigabytes to 150, it starts to kind of slow down. That being said, hey, it's part of the game, and we really need to analyze it in terms of consistency. That is critical when we're looking at it from a workflow perspective. And as you can see from those stats, you know, it's a good drive. Overall, it's a good drive. Not everybody will notice the speed issues that this drive will have when you exceed that writing capacity. You'll notice in all those tests, it was competing, and all the drives are pretty much similar. In the short bursts of transfers, but when it gets to the bigger transfers, you either want to go for the Western Digital or the 980 Pro. However, that being said, would I recommend this for a video editor? Would I recommend this for anybody that's doing anything with big file transfers or anything like that? No, I wouldn't. If you're going to be using it for that. If you're going to be using it as a Windows drive only and you're not going to do anything else, you're just going to have your programs on there and it's just going to run, and will you have that issue? I doubt this is going to be the issue 6 months down the road, that, you know, this caching issue will pop up from that. You're not doing enough writing that way. So I don't think that will be an issue. That being said, I haven't tested it, so I can't guarantee anything of that. What I can guarantee is if you repeat my test, you'll probably have this issue. I did email somebody online, and I asked them to run the same test, and they got similar results. At the same time, if you're just running it for Windows, you shouldn't have a problem. If you are a gamer and you're using this, you shouldn't have a problem. In fact, if I was building a rig that I had like maybe 4 or 5 drives that I could install on it, or if I use this one and I could put in one of those ASUS 4 drive bays, and, you know, I would probably do this like a RAID, and I could put 2 of these in there for a RAID, and it goes super fast. There's this dude, I'll link the video below of this dude that did a RAID of these 2 drives. Super fast speeds, like awesome. But that would be only if you were using it for Windows. Like, that's it. You wouldn't want to use it for anything else, is what I'm getting at. Okay, or if you're gaming, that's it, because you're gonna probably use a different drive for the storage of the games anyways. This is just for your drive for Windows. That's how I see it. Now, that being said, everybody will have their opinions on it. I'd love to hear your opinions, your experiences. Did you find something different? Again, the stats were based on what I found with my real world, you know, experiences of what I do and what I work on. So, I mean, and I know people have different workflows and all that, so it's up to the idea of what you need with your workflow, with what you are experiencing. And that being said, just keep this in mind, and this is where the 980 Pro stops, and this is where it goes back, because when you watch the video on Western Digital, which I'll link below, the Western Digital SN850 is a drive that you will be surprised overall with you know, the end result of what I think is the drive you want.